going on, everybody? It is your boy Arrows here, and we are here with another Lorcana Set 10 ink color review. We have already done one of these for Amber. We've done one of these for Amethyst. Now we are talking about Emerald. In my honest opinion, Emerald got maybe the least amount of good stuff from this set. I've actually just went back through, looking at some of the other, looking over the Sapphire and the Ruby and the Steel cards, and then the Amethyst and Amber offerings from this set are just spectacular. This color feels a little lacking, minus a few cards. We're going to talk about that at the end, like what we did with Amber and what we did with Amethyst. We are, of course, going to talk about. We're going to go over the cards. I'm going to read what they do. I'm going to tell you how I think they'll be, how they will work in the different colors. Emerald is in a weird spot because there's only like one, maybe two good decks with Emerald in it. That being Amber, that being Doggos, which is pretty tight already for deck space, and Amber Steel, which is starting to see some more play with Max Goof, which is just fantastic. But let's talk about Amber. And we're of course going to start. We have everything ordered in cost, which is super cool. Let us talk about our first card, Big Nose Lovesick Pet. This is a generic 1/3. 1/3 that costs 1. Not terrible. I don't think you're running this in any of your Emerald decks, because if you're running Emerald 1-drops, they're going to be Bobby Zemrowski, Fred if you want. They're going to be ladies for your Doggo deck. They're going to be Merryweathers. So, funny picture. Not really going to see a ton of play. This card, on the other hand, I do believe will see some play. I don't know if it'll see play in Amber Emerald Dogs, but it will see play, I think, in Emerald Steel, because it is a very, very good card, and maybe Emerald Sapphire as well. We're talking about Finnick, Tiny Terror. Finnick is a 1/2 Storyborn ally, 1 cost, inkable, quest for 1, but it has the ability You Better Run. You play this character, you may pay 2, so essentially making him a 3 cost, to return chosen opposing character with 2 or less strength to their player's hand. This is essentially a weaker Kit Cloud Kicker, as Kit, you didn't have to pay anything extra, and Kit's stat line was better. But we did not get a Kit Cloud Kicker reprint in Fabled, so having something, a good form of removal on a body is better than nothing. And so I definitely think Finnick will see some play. Like I said, maybe not in Amber Emerald, but I could definitely see this being a 2 or 3 of in Emerald Steel and Emerald Sapphire, especially Emerald Sapphire, because you can harken back to being able to reduce your opponent's strength with that card name I can't remember, Sapphire Coil, and I think it's Hands Held High, Heads Held High, the Rescuers song from set 9, maybe. I should have done more research, but whatever. So yeah, you could do this and then obviously set up your Under the Sea play to bounce some cards. I definitely think this is a really good card, and we'll see some play in those strategies. Our first Emerald boost, Whisper, whatever you want to call them, is Flynn Rider, Spectral Scoundrel. He is a 1-drop inkable, which is always good. 1/2 that quest for 1. His boost cost is 2. If you guys do not know, and you haven't watched any of the other videos on this by people who are much more knowledgeable than I, boost is a new mechanic coming to Lorcana in Whispers in the Well. It is, you pay the boost cost, which is a set amount of ink. In this case of Flynn Rider, it is 2 ink, to put the top card of your deck face down under this character. Much like shifting, this face down card will go wherever your character goes. So if your character gets bounced, that card will go back to your hand. If your character gets sent to the discard pile, they go there. If it gets put in your inkwell, it goes there. Fun stuff. Flynn, I almost called him Finn. Flynn has the ability, I'll take that. While there's a card under this character, he gets +2 strength and +1 lore. Honestly, this is solid. This is a solid ability. Ursula does it better in Amethyst. She gets +2 lore and evasive for a less boost cost. She is a little bit more cost wise, but her boost cost is much less, which means you can still do other things as well, whereas this takes up 2 of your ink in the early game. That's not very manageable, but of course there are other cards that will put cards under this character as well without paying the boost cost. So I think this could see some play. I don't know how you would. The art is spectacular. But yeah, that's where I see Flynn. Maybe in Amethyst Sapphire, not Amethyst Sapphire, Amethyst Emerald, because there are multiple ways of giving this card evasive, which would make it even scarier because he'd be a 3/2 questing for 2 on a 1-drop that has evasive, which is terrifying. But other than that, we'll have to see. We have Webby Vanderquack. Now, full disclosure, when I was initially making this video, I was like, why would you run this? There are other cards that give more strength. And then I realized the legendary in Webby in this set is a shift card. You can shift it onto this. With that in mind, it's still a little mediocre compared to the other attack raising, strength raising options we have in Emerald. Megara, Tramp, Improvise technically, because you get to draw a card off of that, and it's also a 1-drop. What's the last one I'm thinking? Merryweather. Genie, which gives a +2 when it quests. So this is still a solid card, but it's not, its effect isn't great, but it's a great shift target for the legendary Webby that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. But other than that, I love the art. Like, all the art in this set is like fantastic. Next, we have a new Baloo. Look at him. He's just eating, having a good time, enjoying his life. Baloo Laid Back Bear is a 2-cost, 2/4. Pretty solid stat lines on a 2-cost, not going to lie. But he is generic. But we're going to talk about why this Baloo is important in just a little minute. What is that? I don't even. Request for 1. Again, solid stat line on a 2-drop, 2/4. I wish it had some kind of effect, but the art is good. It's a generic card, but it has a shift target that it's got to shift the card that we're going to talk about here just a hot minute. We have probably, I think, one of the more better options for boosting in here, since your boost costs so far seem to be pretty 1 or 2. Some of them have 3. We were talking about Emily Quackfaster, level-headed librarian, 2-cost, 2/2, quest for 1, has the ability recommended reading. When you play this character, you may put the top card of your deck face down under one of your characters or locations with boost. I don't think I've actually seen a boost location yet, which is weird. They keep talking about locations, so I have a feeling like the boost mechanic will stay past Whispers in the Well, and that's when we'll maybe see some boost locations. Like, I don't think we've come across any locations with boost yet. I could just not be able to read. That is a very real possibility. But I like this card. Any way that you can trigger boost abilities without actually having to pay the ink is phenomenal. Being able to play this and give that Flynn Rider on your next turn boost, give the boost there without having to pay that cost as well. I know it's essentially the same thing. You're paying 2 to play this, but if you're doing it this way or with the other characters that do it as well, you're also putting another body on board that can quest, as opposed to using that 2 ink to put a card underneath your boost character. So if you're playing a boost deck, and in my opinion, if you can use these booster characters to trigger your boost abilities without actually having to pay the ink, it's a much better way, because you are then in fact using these. You're still getting your boost abilities, but you're also putting an extra body on board instead of just paying the ink to use the boost ability. We got there eventually. Next up, we have Scrooge McDuck, 0/2 Shush Agent, quest for 2, uninkable. The ability backup plan: when you play this character, draw a card, then choose and discard a card. You like discarding cards. You like drawing cards. And then on the move, when this character is challenged, return this card to your hand. And no damage is down to that challenge. So as soon as the challenge is initiated, Scrooge goes back to hand, which is kind of cool. It might make your opponent not challenge into it, just because they're not going to get anything out of it. Like, obviously, I wouldn't run a Calhoun into this because it's bouncing, not being banished. So that sort of dealio. Next, we have probably one of the worst commons for Emerald in this set. Aquila, 3-cost, 2/5, pay 1. This character gets +1. Just gonna leave that at that. We have a new Flotsam. He's a 4/2 3 cost with evasive. I feel like there are better evasive options in this color. There's a Tinkerbell that's evasive and gives something else evasive. There's the Rapunzel, the legendary. There is better evasive options. I just don't play Emerald evasive, so I can't think of them right now. But this is like a 4/2 evasive in limited, like sealed, pack rush. That could be pretty good, but in constructed, probably not. This card is. I feel like this card for me is like a big potential. If this card had been released no, 3 sets, like 2 or 3 sets ago, I think this would have been incredibly good. When you had Amethyst players playing Library, you had Sapphire players playing McDuck Manor, you had Emerald players playing Hidden Cove, then this card would have been fantastic. I don't still really didn't have anything. Well, I guess Thebes is another good one. Then this card would have been so much better. But we are, of course, talking about Goldie O'Gilt. 3 cost, 3/4, quest for 1, has 2 abilities. The first one, Claim Jumper. When you play this character, a chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a location card of your choice. And then strike gold. Whenever this character quests, you may put a location card from chosen player's discard on the bottom of their deck to gain 1 lore. I mean, you could recycle your locations, but you would have to get them into the graveyard. Whereas in this case, you want to like cycle theirs back in on the bottom of their deck to gain lore. But again, like I said, locations are not a huge play right now. Maybe in this set they'll come back. Each color is getting 1 location in this set. But I don't know, just with what was reprinted, what we still have, like even Amethyst decks aren't running Library anymore. Most Emerald decks aren't running Pirates Cove, and obviously McDuck Manor is rotated. So I don't see this card being good right now. If locations become very big in this set with the locations that we're being given, then this could be really good as a one of. Play it on your turn 3, because most of the time your opponent won't play their location on curves. Play this on your turn 3, get that location out of their hand. The purple one with the Amethyst one that lets you draw cards is pretty solid, but we'll have to see how it goes. As of right now, the jury is out on Miss O. Ka 3/2, quest for 2, has ward. Some Emerald builds play the Prince, which is very similar to this, but is a hero. This might see some play. Quest for 2, which is always good. A ward character that quest for 2 is pretty solid, especially when paired with a bodyguard, because it'll probably take them a while to get rid of it. They can't choose it. There's not a ton of mass damage in this format right now, like mass effects that target multiple things. So this could see some play. I mean, the Prince does in, I believe, Sapphire Emerald. So maybe we'll see. Cool picture though. You're gonna hear that about it. You've probably heard that for a lot of these, and you'll hear it more. Our next Whisper character is Megara, the Secret Keeper. She's a 3/4 3 cost inkable, which is always good. Quest for 1, boost 1, which isn't terrible. I'll be fine. While there's a card under this character, she gets +1 lore and gains whenever this character is challenged. Each opponent chooses and discards a card. This could be pretty good in like some kind of like discard outlet. If you could constantly give your opponent reckless, make them have to charge into this, to discard a card, which is pretty cool. She'll quest for 2 on the turn after you play her, which isn't bad. I like this Megara. I don't know if she'll see a ton of play, but I definitely think there's like spots for her in discard decks, especially since there's a lot more ways to give characters reckless now. You could run this on your turn 3, boost on your turn 4, play Lewis, give something reckless, quest with them, and then they'll probably take out Lewis. But if you can find some other way of giving something reckless as well, then it is very potential. Or if you're doing a good job of keeping their board clear, they have one character that has to challenge in, they might still take out the Lewis. It's complicated. I feel like there is a spot for this in the format. I just don't know where it is right now. I mean, if discard decks do come back, so we are getting some very strong discard outlets, I could definitely see this card being. Bellwether, the 3/3. When this character is challenged and banished, put 1 damage counter on each opposing character. Quest for 2 as a 4 cost. I don't like these effects of when this character is challenged and banished. Because it requires you to be challenged. And obviously, with effects like this, if your opponent has stuff on the field that's going to get KO'd because of this, they're not going to challenge into your Bellwether. They're going to use Strength of Raging Fire or Smash or Mother Knows Best or any other potential way to get it off the field. And I feel like with other two-questers that have this ability, like Cursed Merfolk, it's definitely much easier to do it there. So this, I don't see this seeing play. This could be pretty cool in Limited. Again, a 4 cost with good stats, that Quest for 2, that if it's challenged to get rid of it, which is far more likely in that format, then you'll get to spread some mass damage, which is always good. Flint Heart Gloom Gold is a 4 cost, 1/4 Quest for 3, which is really cool. Well, you have a character or location and play with a card under them. Again, this will account shifting. This character gains Ward. Ward on a 1/4 3-drop is kind of terrifying. A little bit. On a 1/4 3-drop in an Amber deck that runs Tiana, it's probably going to stick around for a little bit. If you boost something else, it's probably going to stick around for a little bit because you're going to have Ward. Again, we keep talking. There's more mass removal coming in this set in the form of the blue card whose name I cannot remember at the moment, but I don't think that's going to like shift a lot. And if you play this in like some kind of like Amber Emerald control style deck with some discard and Tiana's bodyguards, this thing could stick around for a very long time and net you a ton of lore, which is super cool. Will that happen? I don't know, but I definitely think it has a lot of potential. And I feel like that's Emerald in this set as a whole. Like some of the stuff at face value doesn't look the greatest, but there's a ton of potential there as we move forward. Especially if they can produce cards, or if there are cards that force your opponent to challenge into a certain character, like an item that you put under a character and it forces them to challenge into that character. That would be pretty cool. Or something that lets you shift challenge targets would be pretty cool too. But back on board, we have Launchpad, McQuack, Exceptional Pilot. I apologize. It is a 4 cost, 4/4 Quest for 1. When you play this character, banish chosen location. Again, not a lot of location play happening in the meta right now. 4/4 for 4 with a kind of like meh effect is more than likely just going to see more play in like the limited formats, Pack Rush, Sealed, Draft, stuff like that. Because it is a very good stat line and it does quest, and you might see a location in Pack Rush or Draft or Sealed and all that jazz, but not in your constructed. Next, we have the first legendary of this set, which is very, very good. This is a very, very good legendary. We are talking about Webby Vanderquack, Junior Prospector. 4 cost, 2/4 that quests for 2. Has Shift 2, so you can pay 2 to play it on top of one of your characters named Webby Vanderquack. Being able to play this on your second turn is fantastic. It has Ward, and then the ability Work Smarter. Whenever this character quests, if an opponent has more cards in their inkwell than you, you may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. You could literally, if you go second, your opponent's always going to have more ink than you on the start of your turn. So what you do is you play this character, your opponent takes their turn, they ink, you take your turn, your opponent has more ink than you. You don't ink right away. You don't need to ink right away. So what you do is you quest with this character, put an ink face down, then play your ink for the turn. Then you're ahead of them. And if they ramp, then they ramp and you're still ahead of them. I think this card has a ton of potential in this format. I like it. Green has a major issue with a lot of their really good cards being uninkable. Amber Emerald Doggos usually runs about 20 uninkable cards. This fixes that, which is super cool. I like it. I think it's got potential. I think you're going to see this a lot in the Amber Steel decks. Not Amber, sorry, Emerald Steel decks, because they have inking issues. I played one in my set championships, and I was able to take game 2 because they had a bunch of cards they didn't want to ink, and then they kept drawing into uninkable, so they couldn't really do anything. And then same thing in game 3, they fell behind a little bit, not a lot, but because they kept drawing uninkables, and so we were able to secure the game 3 relatively in a close one. It ended up being a very close game, but we were able to step out really quickly because we were able to constantly ink, and they were having that problem. Going in, we have our Baloo. Look at that. That's gorgeous. We have a new Baloo. We have Baloo the Carefree Bear. 4/5, but it's a shift for a 5 cost, but it's a shift 3. Quest for 2. When you play this character, choose one. Each player draws a card. Each player chooses and discards a card. I'm telling you, man, there is a spot for some fun discard decks to come back that I'm superbly excited for. Superbly excited for. So really excited to see more good discard outlets. On also, this is a 4/5 that you can play in your turn 3 and make your opponent discard in Quest for 2. This is pretty solid. Then we have our Emerald Champion. You've heard me talk about it in the Amber video and in the Amethyst video. I will have both those videos linked in the description for this video. The Ink Champions, as I'm calling them, if nobody else is calling that, I am trademarking that, even though I can't because you probably already did. The Ink Champions, as I've been calling them, all their effects range from good to spectacular. Like, even the worst one, in my opinion, which we'll cover that one in the next video, Ruby, even that one is still good. It's still really good. And then it just goes uphill from there. The Goofy is no exception. The Goofy is a 5 cost uninkable, which honestly is probably the biggest thing that works against this card, in my opinion, is the fact that it's uninkable. It's a 3/5, quest for 2. It has 2 abilities. Even the score. Whenever one of your other Emerald characters is challenged and banished, banish the challenging character, which is awesome. And then it has, which works in really nicely with its other ability, provide cover. All your Emerald characters gain ward. This is really good. Giving everything ward means that you're going to trigger that first ability so much more, because if your opponent wants to get your threats off the board, they have to challenge into it, which is going to banish that character as well. So you're going to keep your opponent's board state down while advancing yours by questing with like 2 questers. So a lot of really good 2 questers in green. This will work really well with the legendary what's her name, Rapunzel from set 7, 8, set 8, Reign of Jafar. Yeah, set 8. She's a really good card. This makes her even better because it gives her ward. I think she already has ward. I don't have ward. Ignore me. Ignore me. But this works really well with a lot of really good characters because it gives them ward, and it works in so spectacularly with the first ability. This is a really good card. I definitely think that this is a fantastic champion, and this actually kind of makes me want to build like a purely Emerald deck. I should see if we can make, this should be a video idea, making solo colored decks. But Goofy is fantastic. And again, like I said in the first 2 videos, the fact that these are all rare is fantastic. And then we have Hook Hand, unexpectedly friendly. He's a 5 cost, 6/5, quest for 2. This is a good limited card, good pack rush, good stuff like that. Not going to see a ton of play in your core constructed or your infinity decks because there's just better options out there at that cost level. Same thing with Penumbra, 7/6 on a 5, that quest for 2. Better options out there. We have our last glimmer for our last whisper, sorry. For Emerald, we have a new Little John. It is a 6 cost, uninkable, 4/3, that 4/5, that quest for 3, and then it's boost. It's a boost 3. Now, this is one of those abilities like the Simba that it triggers every time you boost onto him, which I don't 100% like when it costs 3 to do it. Whenever you put a card under this character, ready him. So you quest for 3, you boost 3, you put a card on him. Now, this will obviously work spectacularly well with the characters that put cards under the boost characters. Like the one we talked about, whose name I honestly cannot remember. Quackfaster. Thank you. But again, this is This is very costly for a not overly great effect, I guess is what I'm saying. The Emerald Glimmers are probably, out of the ones we've reviewed so far, the weakest. I don't know why I keep calling them Glimmers. The Emerald Whisperers. Whisper. Um, they are probably the weakest of the three colors that we've covered so far. I definitely think that the Amethyst and Amber ones are much more playable, except for maybe the Simba. Simba's kind of bad. But like I feel like there's definitely more playable options elsewhere that do something similar for each of these. Going into our other legendary, however, both of the Emerald legendaries are phenomenal cards. We're looking at Shere Khan. He is a 6-cost, 5/4 evasive, quests for 2. If you have Goofy out, this thing is going to have Ward 2. Try taking this off the field. Whenever this character quests, banish chosen opposing damage character, then you may put 1 damage counter on another chosen character. This is real good. Honestly, I would play Hyenas with this. I mean, probably not, but I think that'd be really funny. But honestly, they could work because all the Hyenas do something based off damage characters on your side of the field. So it just feeds that, which is super cool. Will that be competitive? Probably not. If it does, get your Rafikis ready. This is just really good, and it's a great card. You quest, you put a damage on something. There's a ton of cheap cards that put 1 damage counter on something. Steel has Dump Truck. Steel has Grab Your Sword. Steel has a lot of options, which where I would pair this with is Steel, because there's a lot of other outlets there to deal damage on characters. This would be really good in Pirates. You could quest with it, banish a chosen character, put a damage on something. Then your Captain Hook abilities would click in. Really good. Your Captain Hook, the not Amber. Why do I keep saying Amber? Emerald Steel one would click in, giving your pirates resist. This isn't a pirate, but he's evasive. So depending on your matchup, he's going to stick around for a while, which is super, super good. This is a really good card, and I love it. And also, that art. Why didn't this get an enchanted? Or an iconic? Or, actually, I don't think any legendary has ever gotten a epic. We'll have to look into that. But yeah, really good card. Both of the Emerald legendaries are fantastic. And we have Vladimir. This is a very hefty cost to banish items. 6 cost, 5/6, quest for 2. Yeah, high standards. Whenever this character quests, you may banish chosen item. It's a very hefty cost for this kind of ability. Definitely a play. Definitely an interesting play if you opt to play this card. I don't even know if I'd put this in like a pack rush deck or sealed, because it's very heavily reliant on you. Like, yes, it quests for 2, but we've covered a bunch of other cards that quest for 2 that have much better effects than just popping an item every time. Jetsam. Jetsam is a 6/6 for 7, which is yikes. For 2, when you play this character, deal 3 damage to chosen opposing damage character. Again, there are better options out there for dealing damage to damaged characters than a 6/6 that quests for 2. Ka is the same thing. Ka quest for 3 is a 6/7. 7 cost that has evasive. Like, there are better plays. Like, when you hit 7 ink, do you really want to be dropping a 7 cost that is a 6/7 that has evasive? Probably not in a Blurple format that can just put it in your ink, and in a Steel format that can just challenge your challenger and go over it. There are better options out there. And at 7 cost, if your games probably won't go much farther past that, this isn't good. It's a good picture, don't get me wrong, but definitely not good. I can't even see it being good in like the limited format. Chomp, on the other hand, is a very good card. It is a deal 1 damage to chosen damage character, which we literally just talked about. This was so costly when there are things that do it better. This costs 6 less and only does 1 less damage. Pairs up very nicely with Shere Khan. On a turn after you play Shere Khan, you could play this, put a damage counter on something, banish it with Shere Khan, put more damage counters on the field, which is fantastic. Much better option for this. So Be It has a great picture. Is another action. It's a 2 cost inkable. Each of your characters gets +1 this turn. You may banish chosen item. The +1 for all of your characters is really solid on a 2 cost. Like, you're getting, depending on when you play it in the game, you're getting a lot of value out of that. If you're giving a bunch of different things +1, which is fantastic. You may banish chosen item. That could come in play. I could see this. A lot of the new red stuff does good stuff with 5 characters or more. Being able to give everything a +1 and then play all your red stuff for cheaper is really fun. The songs are where this color really, really, really gets good in this set. Starting with our new 3-cost song, Malicious, Mean, and Scary, which might honestly be one of the best songs they have printed in a long, long time. I'm not counting like Into the Unknown, because that is very specific on what deck you can put it in. You can only put it in Blurple. This you can put into any Emerald deck, and it's worth it. Putting 1 damage counter on each character is so good because it's putting a damage. If you look at some of these other cards, we'll go back and we'll look at this. Deal 2 damage to chosen character. That can be taken down with resist. You use this on something with resist 2, you do no damage. If you use this something on resist 1, you deal 1 damage. This is putting damage counters on each opposing character. This gets by resist because you're not dealing damage, you're placing damage, much in the same way that Bell, Aspiring Mystic, moves damage to opposing characters and also gets around resist. This is a very, very, very good card, and it's gonna see play in a lot of Emerald decks. Like, I feel like if you're playing Emerald, almost every version of Emerald that you would want to run is gonna run this. Gonna want to run this. It's just too good not to. Trust in Me is another fantastic song. While it's not as good as Malicious, Mean, and Scary, it is still a very good song. It's a 6-cost, uninkable. Honestly, if it was inkable, this broken. It has 2 abilities. One is each opposing character gets -1 until the start of your next turn. That means if your opponent wants to do anything with those characters, you have to challenge in, or they just stand there and do nothing. Put your opponent behind a turn, which is fantastic. Each opponent chooses and discards 2 cards. Another fantastic ability as well. This is a really good card. Both of the songs and Emerald are really good, and honestly, some of the best new song outings we have gotten in a very, very long time. Again, we're not counting Into the Unknown because you can only play that in Blurple. If Into the Unknown was either blue or was either Sapphire or Amethyst, it would easily be one of the best songs we've gotten in a long time. But because it's so restrictive, it's good, but it's not good. Good for one deck. Going into our items, we have Blessed Bagpipes as a 2-cost item. When you play this item, you may put the top card of your deck face down under one of your characters or locations with boost. Again, another great way of triggering some of these boost abilities that you don't have to pay for. And then whenever one of your characters or locations with a card under them is challenged, gain 1 lore. Again, I really like these effects, but unless you're only playing like 1 character and then giving your opponent reckless, your opponent's just going to use, or they're not playing steel, your opponent's just going to like blow up. Unless they're not playing steel, then you might get this effect off a couple times. Enigmatic Inkcaster is really strong, I feel, in the Doggo deck. You could run one of these and it'd be really, really good. If you play 2 or more cards this turn, gain 1 lore. For tapping it, it's uninkable, as all really cool Emerald cards seem to be. In Doggos, in Amber Emerald Doggos, you're gonna play more than like 1 or 2 cards more than 2 cards a turn, because you have a ton of 1-drops that you want to drop to keep your board presence and stop your opponent from really getting ahead of you in the game. So you play 2 characters, you play 2 1-drops, you tap this, you gain a lore. Cards are good. Then we have Inscrutable Map, 3-cost inkable item, backtrack, tap it and pay 1. Chosen opposing character gets -1 until the start of your next turn. -1 lore, that's important. Until the start of your next turn. Not terrible. There's more than likely definitely decks out there that can take advantage of that. I do like giving something -1. it might win you the game. And then we have Potion of Malice. I like this card. Will this card see play? I don't know. Depends on how like big Reckless decks get with all this new stuff. But I like this card. Potion of Malice is a 3-cost item. It's uninkable. You can tap it and pay 1 to put 1 damage counter on chosen character. Always a good time. Put 1 damage counter, again, gets by resist. Or you can banish this item. Each opposing damage character gains Reckless until the start of your next turn. Super good card. Super, super good card. Forcing your opponent to attack into you if you have stuff that has like on trigger on a challenge effects, which Emerald does. Really good card. Or if you have a bunch of evasives, and then they have a bunch of cards that are just standing there, not doing anything for a turn, which puts you ahead. Then we have our one location. Honestly, probably the best location of the ones that we've shown so far. White Agony Plains, the Golden Lagoon, is a 2-cost item. It costs a 2-cost location. It costs 1 to move there, and it is a 7 defense, which is fantastic. Pure Liquid Gold. This location gets +1 for each character here. There are a bunch of ways of moving characters to locations, including the Goofy that came in the Powerline starter deck, that when it moves there, you move another character there as well. So you can immediately, if you play the Goofy in your deck, you can immediately make this a +2 lore, which is super good. Just a really good location. Out of the 3 that we've reviewed so far, it is hands down the best. So that is Emerald. Like I said, as we looked through the cards in the set, this color probably has the worst Whisper cards, but it has some really neat stuff in it as well. This Shere Khan is fantastic. This Webby is amazing. This song is game-changing. Gonna make so many Emerald decks so much better than they already are. Trust in Me is a really good card. Chomp is fantastic. It's literally an inkable inkable fire the cannon for damaged characters. Who doesn't love that? Like, there's a lot of fun potential cards in here too, like Scrooge, Glimgold. Finnick is gonna see a bunch of play. I definitely feel in Sapphire Emerald builds. This is just this is a color of potential. Depending on what we see in the future for Emerald in the next sets, this is a color for the cards. And a lot of cards in this set are, this card has a lot of potential. But let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ding that notification if you want to be alerted to whenever we post amazing Lorcana content, or if you don't find it amazing when I post okayish Lorcana content. I'm really enjoying this set so far. I think all the colors, I think Emerald is probably the first one that is a bit lackluster, or probably the only one, honestly, that is a bit lackluster, but there's still some really spicy things in this color. But let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to check out the Amber and Amethyst videos. They will be linked in the description below. And as always, friends, stay safe out there. Play some card games, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.